What is up, guys? Welcome back to the GOLANG video chat project, where we'll be using Websockets and Pine, WebRTC, and Fiber to be basically building a video chatting platform. Now, I created 3 videos for this series long back, and then I took a break for a while, and now I'm restarting this series. The reason I took a break was because this series is very advanced in the sense I feel that only people who have some years of experience of working with GOLANG already, and who already know the basics, of course, and who have already built a lot of projects, and who also know how to work with sockets, how to work with WebRTC, the basics of those at least, how to build APIs, and have an experience with Fiber as well. I believe it's only for those people to even attempt this project. It's quite complex, and what ends up happening is that on my channel, when I do these kind of series, a lot of people, they end up commenting that, hey, we're not understanding anything, or those kind of things. So this is why I took a break, and I created so many different projects, right? So in case you want to go, you can check out my playlist. There's a 21 project playlist. So I created all those 21 projects after I took a break from this series. So all those 21 projects, you should probably take a look at them. If you don't have any GOLANG experience, take a look at them. Take a look at all the other projects on my in my playlists, like the URL shortener one, and the e-commerce, the restaurant management. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is you need a lot of GOLANG experience before you even attempt this, right? Because I don't take responsibility if you don't understand anything going on in the series. It's because this is supposed to be an advanced series, right? And somehow nobody understands that. A lot of people don't understand that, and they start commenting on my channel saying that, hey, I don't understand this, I don't understand that. That's because you're on the wrong series, my friend. You're on the wrong series. You're not supposed to be here, right? All right. So one more thing is that I won't be explaining a lot, in the sense I'll be explaining every single line to you. I'll be explaining the general concept, but I won't sit and explain every single concept here or every single line like in more details. The reason being that this, like I said again, this is again for experienced developers only, right? This is an advanced series, and I want to do more of these advanced series, but then I also need your support. I need your support in the sense that you should know GOLANG really well to be attempting these kind of series, right? I don't want those comments saying I didn't understand this, or what does this mean. That's your homework. I mean, you have to do the homework. You read the documentation for WebRTC. You read all the documentation, right? And then come and then watch the series again. All right. So where were we? We had created a list of these APIs that we wanted, right? Now, when you have these kind of video chats, they revolve around the concept of rooms, right? So that's why we had rooms. You create a room between those two people, and then in that room, the connection between them starts, and then that's how you have a video chat, a video call. And that's the same concept with regular chat as well. So that's why when we created the React full stack project with GOLANG chat, right? In case you haven't checked it out, please check it out. That also uses the room concept, right? So you have multiple connections in the room, and we use the connection of the connections and WebSocket concepts also in that series. We're just using that again here. Now, since I've done so many projects with you guys, right? We have done React To-Do and React Chat application, all of those. So all of those concepts will be used here, right? And all the API building concepts, everything will be used here. So this is like like a complex series, but kind of uses all the concepts that you have already learned on my channel. So if you've been following me for quite some time, if you already are a GOLANG developer, it's the perfect series for you to upskill yourself. Okay, and there's also going to be a lot of use of Docker here. Okay, because a lot of senior developers, they ask me to build projects on Docker. I don't do it for simple projects because I don't want beginners to get really intimidated, because Docker looks intimidating to a beginner, right? But we know that Docker actually makes things easier, Docker and Kubernetes. So I want to teach more of that, but only thing is I wanted to create all those simple projects before we even resumed this project back, okay? Because at that time I was starting out with my GOLANG channel. I didn't know what kind of audience will come to my YouTube channel, and then I realized that a lot of people who are coming were beginner GOLANG developers. So that's why I completed all those basic projects, and now we're back to this advanced project, and now we'll be creating more and more of these advanced projects. Okay, so what has changed since then? Since the third video that I created, I have obviously a much better setup now. I have created so many more videos, right? And what has also changed is that I still use WSL on Windows, even in this right now. Also, I'll be using it, but I was always skeptical of introducing more themes and extensions into my VS Code, But I have done that because I had to work on some project where I needed that. So in my instance, which by the way is now 25 GB. So this WSL instance, they're not supposed to go above 3 or 4 GBs, but because I kept installing these extensions and all these softwares, it has gone to 25 GB. So imagine it's Windows and then you're working on you have multiple instances of Ubuntu, and that Ubuntu, just one Ubuntu instance, which is of many Ubuntu instances, just one instance has become now 25 GB. So I'm in a very dangerous space. But it's okay. It just makes your experience better because now you can see that I have errors. I have these extensions. I have a better theme on VS Code, so it looks better to you guys. But I've just told you the reasons why I was not doing it before. All right. So we had created all these APIs, and then I can see some spelling mistakes. So we can fix that. Stream, right? So make sure you have all of these routes created already, and we'll be working on these handler functions after a while, but there's still some work left here. But before I do that, before I work on the part here, I have to do something important. I have to delete my go.sum file, and I have to change the name of my module. The reason I'm doing that is because my Docker, now in this video we'll set up a little bit of our Docker and make file as well, and my image, this entire image that I create, I want the image to be called video chat. And in my entire project also, this is why whenever I have any import statements, so like let's say if in my main.go file, if I want to import server.go or server package, I just want to say video chat / I don't want to say github.com blah 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 / because I want it to be consistent with my Docker file name, a Docker image name, right? So what I'm doing right now is a best practice. This is what you do where if you are working in a big team, you want to make sure that your go.mod, your module has the same name as the Docker image. So when I try saving it, obviously it'll give me some errors because my go.sum file would not be in accordance with this. So I might have to delete it now. I'm just doing it for, it's not showing many issues, but I'm just doing it for, I'm just doing it anyways. So yeah, so now it says go.sum is out of sync. So let's head over to our terminal and say go mod. Actually, let me also delete my go.mod file. Let me delete that. Let me set it up from scratch actually. So I'll say go mod init, and I'll say video chat and go mod tidy. So I'll bring back all those packages and some more packages that I need, and soon it'll create a go.sum file for me after working for a while. Okay. So now hopefully it should have had a go.sum file. Don't know where it is. I think it'll show it to me after a while, maybe. I don't know. Okay, anyhow, even if it's not sorted, we'll sort it out in a while. But it should have created a go.sum file, and it should show me in a while, but it's not a problem. Even if it doesn't create it right now, I'll fix it. Okay, so what I want to show you here is that we want to have a make file. Make file just makes things easier for us. So how does make? Obviously, if you've been working with GOLANG for a while, you already know that. But I'm just stating the obvious here, that this kind of makes your life easier, and you can have separate commands here for your development or dev server, your QA servers, and your prod servers. I'm just going to show you how to do it for dev server, but you can take the initiative to make it for your prod servers as well, right? So this is again a best practice. You want to have a make file. The make file will have dev, QA, and prod configurations, and usually the configurations are for your Docker, because you want to have a command like this, like build dev or build prod, build QA, and what you will have here is you'll have Docker and build -t. And the name we could say is video chat -f. And in my containers folder out here, I will have the images folder. So I'll have images / Docker file. And I'll say Docker build minus t turn minus f. I'll have a Docker turn file as well, and I'm going to say containers / images / Docker file dot turn, and at the end you want to make sure that you put a space, put a dot, and then you know it's complete. Okay, so that's your build dev. So your build dev, when you say make build dev, this is what will be done. And then you want to have your run dev. Now I can have more commands like clean dev also. So for example, this is completely optional. I mean, you probably might not end up using it, and I'm just showing it to you anyways. So here you'll just have your Docker compose minus f containers composes dc.dev.yml.down. Just bring your entire system down. And your run dev just does the opposite. It just brings the entire system up. So it's a Docker compose minus f and containers / composes, because we have a composes folder here inside containers, and we'll have a dev.yml file, and this will just, you know, basically Docker compose up. That's what it'll do. Shouldn't have a space here. So now it's nice to see that our make file has, you know, there's something in our make file now. And we now also have to have our images. So what we'll do now is we'll head over to our images folder, okay? And we'll create 2 files. So let me first cross off everything that exists here. And let me create 2 files here. First file will be dc.dev.yml. This is the file we just talked about in a while, just a while ago. Make sure there's a dot here, .yml file, and you will see this exclamation mark. That'll, you know, ensure that it's actually YML file. So the extensions that I'm using to show all these issues, the red issues and all that, are I just went to the extensions tab and I just wrote go, and the first 3-4 extensions that came up, I just installed them. Now I don't use extensions a lot. You also probably might be knowing, because if you are an experienced developer, the kind of interviews you have with your with the company, they expect you to come online, and then there's like a video call going on, and then on site there's a you know, coding window, and you don't necessarily get to use your favorite code editor like VS Code, and that's when you get into trouble. So always I you know, always tell the beginner developers to never get into the habit of over depending on extensions. But these days I'm seeing more and more of that happen, in the sense they try and correct me. They tell me in my YouTube channel videos, in my comments, saying that, hey, why don't you use this extension? Probably they think that I don't know that these extensions exist, or why am I, you know, going the old school way. But the reason I'm not using extensions is because I don't want to depend on them, and then if you depend too much on them, you will get into trouble for sure. Many of you might have also experienced that already by now. Okay, so but I find it really funny when people try to correct me that, hey, you don't use this extension, you probably don't know that this extension exists. Anyhow, so we have version 3.8, right? We'll call it 3.8 for now, and this is dev.yml, and here I want to create some services. So we'll have our server and our image. Image I'm going to call, you already know it's going to be called video chat. It's going to be consistent with my module name. Okay. None of this is compulsory. It's not compulsory. It's a best practice basically. And then you want to have deploy. What do you want to deploy? You want to have replicas. I'll have just one replica for now. And so make sure the kind of indentation that I'm following. Yeah, so just make sure you're following the right indentation, just like I am doing. Like, you know, below deploy, you should have restart. Always. Logging driver JSON file. Now again, I'm creating the bare minimum, the basic Docker files that I need. Feel free to extend more upon these, but I'm creating the basic bare minimum files that you would need, the absolute bare minimum. Okay, and make sure that at the level of logging, just right below logging, you have ports. And then you want to give a space, or maybe I think a tab, and then put a line here, 8080. I'm going to be using 8080, but you could be using any other port, doesn't matter. Okay, so this is your dev.yaml file. Now I could create QA and prod files just like this. I'm not going to do it right now, but you could do it if you wanted to. And those files, like for example, my prod file could have volumes. They could have, a lot more things basically, like my public IP address, my ports, different kind of ports could be extended. So a lot of things could be there in my production file, but I'm just not going to create it. You can take the example of my dev file and create a production file for yourself in case you're going to use this in production. Okay. So now we want to create our Docker compose file. Okay, so head over to a Docker compose. Sorry, so this file needs to be here in the Docker compose. And for your images, you want to create Docker file. Yeah, because I just saw that in our make file. What we're saying here is we're saying that inside our images will be my Docker file. So, which is obviously the right way to do things, the best practice. So my images folder needs to have the Docker file. Usually I don't even have an images folder, I just keep the Docker file outside, but this is like the right way to do it. So we'll have Docker file dot, there's just one Docker file, and then we have the Docker file dot turn. So I'll create that as well. So I'll say Docker file dot turn. Okay. So it's asking me if I want to install even more extensions. I'm not going to do that for now. Like I said, my instance for WSL is already above 25 GBs. It should never be that big. Okay, so from GOLANG. So we'll get the GOLANG standard image from GOLANG Alpine 3.14. Make sure you like GOLANG, not GOANG like I did. And I'm going to set the working directory as src. Then the standard stuff, you want to have the go.mod file, you want to have the go.sum file, and exactly the same thing we're doing here, go.mod and go.sum. And then you want to run go.mod download. This will download all the dependencies basically that are mentioned in your go.mod file. Now you want to run cgo enabled, and you want to go build. So go build and keep it in the CMD. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll take our main.go file and we'll build that, and whatever comes from that, we'll also keep that in the CMD folder. We'll say from Alpine and work directory /src, copy minus from is equal to 0, bin /app /bin /app. So you want to copy your app, you want to copy your views. Okay. and you want to copy your assets. Okay, and you will create an entry point. The entry point to our application will be bin/application. So that's our Docker file. Straightforward, very simple, right? So we're just doing all the things that we would have done without using Docker, which is basically your having your go.mod and go.sum file, downloading all the dependencies, building it, and then running it. That's it. We're not doing anything special here. And that's actually the right way to do things, in the sense how you would do like normally. Just make a list of those steps and just try to just replicate them in your Docker file. That's the right way to do things. Then we have a Docker file turns. Just let me make sure if this is all right. I have the Docker Hub open, and I'm just confirming if this is the actual name of the image. Otherwise, it'll give me an error. So Docker file. Okay, Docker file.turn will have GOLANG 1.16.7, Alpine 3.14, and work directory. Again, it's the same stuff. Work directory /src, and you want to have copy go.mod go.sum. Pretty much similar to the previous thing that we did. Run cgo enabled is equal to 0, go build -o bin/app tool/turn. Okay, so quite similar to the other file. Entry point is bin/app. Okay, so we're done with our Docker files. Now I want to create my main.go file. This is, as you already know, that main.go file is the most important file in a GOLANG program. That's where the command enters from. So main.go file, we want to obviously write package main. That's the main package. I'll import a couple of packages here, like the log package, for example. And I'll have the most important function, the func main. This is where the program starts from. And I'll have something called a server. This is the server package, server.run. And obviously, this means that I need my log package and my server package and my import statement. Log.ln. Okay, so here I will get my log package and my server package. Now my server package is going to be residing in my internal folder. So there's going to be a folder called internal, okay? And that's where my server package, as you can see, server.go file, which is server package, resides. So I'll say internal /. And now comes the best part, which is I can just have video chat rather than saying github.com and all of that stuff. So straightforward, right? So that's simply my main.go file. Now, main.go file is calling the server file. So what we'll do is we'll head over to our server.go file. We had worked on it in the previous video as well. But here we will clean up some stuff. So I need flag OS and time, that's for sure. But I also need my WebRTC package. So I'll say w video chat /package/WebRTC. Okay, And I need my handlers as well. So I'll say video chat slash internal slash handlers. Okay. For your address, you want to put a comma here. Not a comma, actually, a plus here. Okay, address. Plus, I'm just making sure that this is all right. Address is equal to flag dot string. Then you have address again, comma, and you have this colon plus os dot get environment port. Okay, this kind of now looks all right to me. Okay. Now the reason I came to this file actually was not this. The reason I came to this file was because I wanted to complete these. So we had reached here in the sense for every route we had sorted out a function. And these functions, by the way, we'll have to work on these functions. These will be in the handlers package. But then there are some of these left which we have not assigned any function to yet. And these are the ones that I want to talk about. So here, this one is done, handle stream. But what is not done is this WebSocket one. So for this WebSocket, what you're going to have is you're going to have WebSocket.new. And here what we'll be saying is, we'll be saying handlers dot stream WebSocket, comma, WebSocket dot config and in that config, WebSocket.config, we'll say handshake. Actually, I'll bring this to the next line. It'll be much better. Handshake timeout is 10 seconds. 10 time dot second. Okay. So what's basically happening here is these are just the routes, right? Like I said, and for each of these routes we want to have a function assigned, and we'll now probably it won't make sense to you because we have not defined the handlers yet. We have not talked about these functions. We're just assigning the functions to the routes, but we'll talk about these functions. We'll build these functions, so then everything will become clear to you. So for now, just have the patience, just create these routes, just assign these functions to the routes. That's about it. Okay. Here for WebSocket, what we're going to do is we want to say WebSocket.new and handlers.stream chat WebSocket. For the viewer WebSocket, you want to have WebSocket.new handlers.stream viewers stream viewer WebSocket, and then you want to say app.static. At the root route, which is just the slash, you want to have assets, and now we want to do a small procedure out here, which basically we have to create a function called dispatch keyframes, and this function we want to call as a go routine. So here what we want to do is we want to say go dispatch keyframes. Okay, and what's happening in this function is that we're going to have our package called room. Okay, and inside that we'll have a package called peers, and in that peers we'll have peers dot dispatch keyframe function. We'll work on that function after a while, not right now. We're just calling the function from here. And that's what mostly this function is going to do. And this function is going to be called, like I said, using like a Go routine. And firstly, we'll create a map of string, which is of type, and also w dot room. And this map, we're going to call it w dot rooms. As you go. And here, we'll say w dot streams, w being your WebRTC package. W dot streams is equal to make a map type string w dot room. Okay, and then you call this function as a Go routine. And we also want to check for certificates. Now, if the certificates are empty, you could be using certificates and keys and all those things like SSL certificates and all that. Or you could be using your dev environment where we don't have any certificates and keys. So if certificates and all are not empty, then you will say app.listen TLS. You will pass the address, you will pass the certificate, and you will pass your key. But if certificate is empty, then you just want to listen on the address. That is it. That's all you want to do. And out here, you want to range time dot new ticker. And inside this brackets is where you want to again range over w dot rooms. Inside that is where you want to copy and cut and paste this line. Okay. Now this function needs to be outside of the run function. So this entire function that we had earlier is the run function, which might return an error if there's an issue. And what we did here was we parsed the flag, and then we had our address, right, 8080. If there's nothing there, then you select 8080 by default. And you want to have views, your views folder with HTML files, all of them to be rendered. And then you'll create a new Fiber instance with views engine, and you'll use logger, you'll use course, right? We'll use a Fiber logger basically. And then you want to set up the routes. So we'll have a route for the root route, which will be handled by handlers.welcome. So now if you check out handlers.welcome, you just see welcome and just layouts and main. That's all you see there. Whereas for everything else, there's a function that's going to be included in the handlers package. So there are functions that are related to rooms, functions that are related to the streams, right? There are two types. And then there are these multiple functions. So in each room, you would have chat and viewer. Similarly for stream also, you'll have chat and viewer. And then you'll create rooms and you'll create streams. And then you'll have a function called dispatch keyframes. You'll be calling that as a Go routine. And then if you don't have any certificates assigned, then you'll just listen on this address. Otherwise, in production, you'd want to have certificates like SSL certificates and all of those and the key. So this was it for today. We've done quite a bit we've done. But then it's a big project, right? So there's quite a bit left still. We have to work on our views. We have to work on all the other files. But then we are on the right track. We're on the right approach. And then I'll continue the series And this is obviously one of the exciting series on this channel. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe.